Karina suddenly felt a hand pulling her beneath the surface of the river, and despite the children's frantic search, she disappeared from sight. Once upon a time, in a small village, there lived a young girl named Karina. At the age of 10, she and some other children from the village went to the river for a swim, as it was a common activity in their riverine community. As they enjoyed the cool waters, a strange occurrence disrupted their fun. Karina suddenly felt a hand pulling her beneath the surface of the river, and despite the children's frantic search, she disappeared from sight. Under the water, Karina found herself being whisked away by mysterious beings, and she soon lost consciousness. When she awoke, she was astonished to find herself in a world similar to the human one, surrounded by beings with human bodies. Despite their initial kindness, Karina realized she did not recognize anyone around her, feeling surprised and confused. Meanwhile, back in the human world, her people scoured the river in search of her, but their efforts were in vain. They reluctantly returned home, assuming the worst. In the river world, Karina was visited by the being who had captured her, and with a simple touch to her ear and mouth, she gained the ability to understand and speak their language. As days turned into weeks and months, she adjusted to the life in the water world, where she was provided with everything a human would need. However, she was given a strict warning not to harm or consume any aquatic beings, and was instructed never to follow a particular path under any circumstances. Despite her new life in the river world, Karina longed to return to the earth above. For 7 years, Karina lived in captivity, selling bananas and forming friendships with others who she suspected were also from the human world. They all longed to see their families again and dreamed of being free. One fateful day, Karina came to a road she was forbidden to follow. Despite the warnings, she decided to take the path, driven by her longing to see her family once more. Her friends supported her decision, and she promised to return for them if she ever found freedom. As she walked down the road, she encountered water that seemed to be approaching her. Despite the uncertainty, she bravely stepped into it and suddenly found herself at the top of a river where she had drowned. A group of fishermen spotted her and rushed to her aid. Among them, a man recognized her and called out to her, but she was disoriented and couldn't understand their words. The village celebrated as she was taken to her family compound. However, Karina remained silent for 3 days until a seer advised them to feed her fish. After eating the fish, she regained consciousness and began to speak, much to everyone's amazement. As Karina settled back into her old life, she remembered her friends in the marine world and the promise she had made to rescue them. Despite the challenges, she started seeking a way to return to the marine world, determined to keep her word. She pondered if it was possible for her to go back to the marine world, and so she began to plan how to go back to the marine world without the knowledge of anyone. She was then a teenager, as years had passed since her disappearance. However, she couldn't shake off the promise she had made to her friends in the water world to come back and rescue them. Karina was constantly lost in thought, and even her parents noticed her preoccupation. Determined to find a way back to the river world, she began sneaking out to the river, trying to unlock the secret of returning. After a few failed attempts, she had a dream where one of her friends guided her to a specific spot beneath the river and told her to speak the word open in the river world language. Following the dream's guidance, Karina successfully found her way back to the river world. However, when she returned, she had to maintain a false display of normalcy at home, pretending that nothing had changed. After a few days of preparing, she ventured back into the river world, eager to reunite with her friends. Unfortunately, her friends didn't show up, but instead, she was captured by Dudu, a handsome riverman who had admired her during her time growing up in the river world. Dudu then revealed to Karina how the river masters, to her friends, had discovered her return to the human world and imprisoned them for the fear of losing them too. Dudu was confident that Karina would return. He began awaiting her arrival every day at the entrance spots and was able to see her first as she returned to the river world. Karina pleaded with Dudu to conceal her presence from others. She promised to accept any condition as long as Dudu would help her rescue her friends. Dudu expressed his love and willingness to help her. As evening descended, Karina expressed her desire to return home, but Dudu, fearing her departure, pleaded for her to stay. However, Karina reassured him of her return and entrusted him with a message for her friends before bidding him a heartfelt farewell. Dudu escorted Karina to the riverbank and lovingly bid her farewell. Karina's return to the human world was met with a mixture of surprise and concern from her parents and fellow villagers. It was evident that her prolonged absences had not gone unnoticed, and her parents were understandably worried about her well-being. Karina then revealed her mission to rescue her friends from the water world. She pleaded with her parents to support her and keep her secret safe. After some initial reluctance, her parents agreed to stand by her as long as she remained safe. When the day came for Karina to return to the river world and complete her mission, she departed with her parents to the riverbank. Dudu was waiting for her arrival. As she entered the water world with Dudu, leaving her parents behind in tears, the fate of her journey remained uncertain. Inside the water world, Karina reunited with her imprisoned friends and formulated a plan for their escape. Despite the risk and Dudu's warnings, Karina went missing without the knowledge of Dudu. Dudu was worried about her whereabouts. Where could she be? Had she been captured by her master? Had she returned to the human world? Was she planning to outsmart Dudu? These and many more were in Dudu's mind. What will be the outcome? Watch out for part 2. This is Umma's story time. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe. I am Amarachi Ihoma, the young storyteller.